Hey gang, haven't seen everyone for a while. Haven't been active for a while. Since the filming of the Trans Talk videos, I've run into a few issues that have kind of kept me away from the camera. But I have had some of my Facebook friends ask me if I was going to be putting any more videos out, and so here we go. One thing that happened after I did my last video was that I fell off of a wall while doing a little construction work, and I had an accident, and it left me with a broken shoulder, among other things, and the inability to work, coupled with right about the same time, within a week, I began to increase my estrogen levels on my hormonal replacement therapy. I'm now doing injectable estrogen, and that kind of played a little bit on my mood, along with situational depression of not having a job, not being able to work, and not really being able to do much of anything even around the house because of my arm, which seems to be in pretty good shape now. I'm still not out of the woods, but I'm feeling better. And so I wanted to do a video on something that's been a big deal with me and caused a lot of problems in my life, and those are my unhealthy coping mechanisms that I've used throughout my life to deal with the stresses of being transgender. And my unhealthy coping mechanisms have been throughout my career a lot of the macho stuff that helped keep my mind off of my trans feelings, and tried to help me prove to the world what a tough guy I was, what a macho man I was, so they couldn't see through the curtain. Lately, since I've been trying to accept myself more and learn more about myself, I still have these issues where my relationship with my wife is changing, and it's not something that I'm really excited about, really happy about, and I've been spending a lot of money and spending a lot of time on my computer shopping for things, and rationalizing that I'm just trying to get the best price for things, but just anything to keep my mind occupied so I don't have to really think about me. And drinking too much alcohol. I started drinking again, and that's going to have to stop. It seems that while my wife is not completely excited about my being trans, she's not going to leave me, and we're going to get through this one way or the other. But what may drive her away from me more than anything else are my unhealthy coping mechanisms. The things that are causing the most turmoil in the marriage and most turmoil around the house. So since my injury, and since I haven't been able to do much else but focus on me, I've stopped my spending, and I've slowed down I've cut my drinking way back. And I know that's, for those of you who don't drink, that sounds silly, but progress is better than perfection sometimes. I am doing better, and I hope to be making videos and having fun with this for a long time. Something that I'm experiencing now that I didn't used to experience, and I think it's a product of not having a job and the increased estrogen, is that I've found that I become lonely, and the loneliness causes a depression. Now I have some budding co-stars, some people, some of my people that want to get on camera, and since I won't let them on camera, they want to sit behind the camera and chew on little plastic bones. Those are my dogs. So I hope you can put up with the sound. Maybe one day they'll be on camera. The loneliness that I've had sitting around the house, you know, doing the housework, taking care of things all alone, has really exacerbated the depression, if you will. And I realized that the other day as I was going through these bouts of really deep depression and wondering if, you know, if my wife would be better off without me, wondering if the rest of the world would be better off without me, and things like that. And it was a really dark place. But then I came out of that, and I was doing great. And then I started to get depressed again, and it hit me that I'm simply just lonely. And that's not something that I've ever experienced before. I've always been comfortable by myself, but probably comfortable by myself with my coping mechanisms, which I'm trying not to have these days. So that might have something else to do with it. Anyway, I got out, I visited some friends, and I felt a lot better, and it's all good, and I think I'm getting a handle on this. But yeah, the mood swings from the HRT are really a big deal, you know, and I know a lot of you folks have experienced that, and some of you are thinking about experiencing it. So you got to watch out. I mean, if you're already predisposed to depression, things like that, the HRT could just take you right out of it, and you could just be on top of the world. But it will exacerbate your emotions, and you'll go from the highest highs to the lowest lows. And it's nice to have people around when you're having one of those lows. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. We all have good positive coping mechanisms and bad coping mechanisms. You know, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to exercise more and relieve stress that way. I'll try to get more educated on the transgender subject. I'm going to be meeting with more folks to do interviews so we can have interviews with professionals that treat the transgender community. I'm going to do some videos on that. I promised you I wouldn't give you a transition timeline, but it seems like that's what's coming out in more and more videos. I have to tell you about this needle, and this contributed to my depression for a few weeks. When we went to injections, of course, that means you got to have a needle, and I just assumed that it was going to be like a diabetic needle, and when they introduced me to the needle, I just have to share this with folks who haven't done this before. The needle is just about the size of one of those things that they use in the movie Braveheart to bring down the charging horses. It's just a little bit smaller than one of those things. And I'm supposed to stick it in my upper thigh or in the top of my butt. And I found out that I'm one of those people that cannot give themselves a shot. So of course my doctor is 80 miles away, and I go to them for the first shot to get training in how to do it, and his nurse gives me the shot, and then a week later I go back and I'm going to do it to myself, you know, with her watching, and of course I can't do it, and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm looking and the needle's this far away from me, and I can't do it. So she does it again. So now I'm getting depressed. How am I going to do this? And I come home, and my wife, God bless her, she said, I'll do it. I'll do it. If you can't do it, I'll do it. Now, she's unbelievable. You know, she's a wonderful woman. And I told the nurse prior, I said, my wife's not going to do this. And the nurse looked at me and said, why won't your wife help you? And I said, geez, I don't know why my wife doesn't want to inject her husband with estrogen. But I'll ask her the next time I see her. She did it. The following week, she did it for me. And I realized that this was not something that I would ask her to do every week. So I don't know where it came from, but I got the intestinal fortitude to give myself my shot. So now I know I can do it. And I guess I just had to have it happen 3 times and realize it's not going to hurt. It really doesn't hurt. I mean, when you stick a samurai sword in the top of your butt and pull it back out, it doesn't hurt. There's got to, I know someone's going to read some kind of sexual joke into that, but innuendo, but there's no pain at all. There's nothing. So I got that, so I could do it to myself. And my depression just kind of went away after that, because now I felt more self-sufficient, if you will. Anyway, there's a lot of things that can bring on depression. I hope that what I have is simply situational depression exacerbated by the HRT, and that I don't end up having to be on antidepressants or, you know, find out that I have some kind of a chemical problem in my brain that's going to make me depressed for the rest of my life. I'm supposed to be happy. This is supposed to be the happiest time of our lives, and I want it to be a happy one for me. All right. I think that's about all I got on these notes for this video. So I want to say love and peace to all, and I'm back. Let's just try to accept one another for who they are.